Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we uncover the hidden stories in financial statements. And today we're diving headfirst into CREDICORP Limited, latest filing, or rather an update to their annual report. It seems like they found a little oopsie in their last filing and are here to fix it. Let's see what's changed and what it means for this financial giant. Before we jump into the nitty-gritty, if you're looking for clear, no-nonsense financial analysis that cuts through the jargon, make sure you're subscribed. And hey, we've got a great community over on Discord. Links are in the description below. Come join us. So what's this amendment all about? Well, it's a bit like a company saying, oops, we need to correct something in our homework. CREDICORP has filed an amendment called the 20F-SEN to their annual report. The original filing was for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2024. The big news here is that they're refiling a specific part, item 7, to correct some percentages related to major shareholders. It's like they messed up a few numbers in a list of important people who own the company and are now setting the record straight. CREDICORP Limited is a leading financial services holding company in Peru and one of the largest in Latin America. They're involved in banking, insurance, and other financial services. Think of them as a super bank with many different financial arms. This filing is all about their performance and ownership structure as of the end of last year, December 2024. Now let's get into the juicy stuff, their ownership. A company's shares are like pieces of ownership. When they talk about common shares, that's pretty much the standard type of stock that gives you voting rights. As of the end of 2024, CREDICORP had a total of over 94 million common shares out there. That's a lot of little pieces of ownership. This is where the amendment comes in. They're updating information about who owns significant chunks of these shares. It's important because big shareholders can have a lot of influence. One of the largest shareholders mentioned is Atlantic Security Holding Corporation. They hold over 14.6 million shares. That means Atlantic Security Holding Corporation owns about 15.49% of all the shares. That's a pretty big stake in the company. Then there's the Romero family, who hold over 11.5 million shares, making up about 12.29% of the company. It's noted that this includes shares owned directly or indirectly by members of the family and is headed by the chairman of the board. This family has significant influence and involvement in the company's leadership. Another significant owner is Dodge & Cox, holding over 5.3 million shares, which is about 5.65%. This shows that while there are a few large owners, the ownership is not completely concentrated in just one or two hands. Just a quick note on how they calculate these percentages. They're looking at the total number of shares issued by CREDICORP, including those held by Atlantic Security Holding Corporation, which is pretty standard. Now, this is a crucial part of these filings related party transactions. This means they're reporting on business deals between the company and people or entities connected to the company, like its executives, directors, or other businesses they control. This is important because these deals need to be fair and transparent to avoid conflicts of interest. They've got some rules about these transactions. Generally, if a deal with a related party is over $1 million, it needs approval from the board of directors. However, they do have exceptions. For example, everyday business transactions between CREDICORP companies and their employees, like loans or financial services, are allowed if they're done at market prices and terms, similar to how they deal with any outside customer. These are considered pre-approved, but they still monitor them for good practice. Let's look at some of the numbers related to these transactions. These tables show you how much money is moving between different parts of CREDICORP and its related entities. It's a snapshot of their internal financial dealings. In 2024, direct loans from CREDICORP to related parties were over 2.47 billion sols. That's a significant amount of money flowing as loans. Their investments in related companies were around 611 million sols in 2024. These are investments where they're holding stakes or bonds in other businesses connected to them. Interestingly, they had negative deposits with related parties, meaning CREDICORP actually deposited money with them, totaling over 1.8 billion sols in 2024. This shows money being placed with their related entities. The income generated from these loans to related parties was about 55 million sols in 2024. This is the interest they earned on the money they lent out internally. And the expense related to the deposits they made with related parties was around 37 million sols in 2024. This is what they paid out as interest for the money they deposited. Then there are indirect loans, which are like guarantees or commitments that can turn into loans. These totals over 746 million sols in 2024. The filing gives some specific examples of these investments. In 2024, a big chunk of their investments included corporate bonds from companies like CREDICORP SAA and shares in Inversion of Centenario. This shows where their internal investment money is going among their related holdings. Looking at who owes them the most, in 2024, the biggest borrower among related companies was in the cement sector, with a balance of over 540 million sols. This highlights that their lending is not spread equally, but is concentrated in certain industries within their related network. Now, this is a big one. The loans provided to their own employees, directors, and senior management and their families amounted to a staggering 1.4 billion sols in 2024. These loans are said to be on market terms similar to what outside customers get, which is good, but it's a huge amount of internal lending. They also reported payments to related suppliers. In 2024, they paid around $32 million to companies like Hermes Transportes Blendados, SA Grupo Romero, Grupo Centenario, Plus Energia Peru SA. This shows a flow of money to these connected businesses for services. Beyond these specifically called out related party transactions, they also detail transactions between their own subsidiary companies. It's like money moving between different departments of the same company, but on a much larger scale. In 2024, these internal loans and receivables between subsidiaries were over 932 million sols, and funds and deposits made by subsidiaries totaled a negative 2.45 billion sols, meaning these subsidiaries placed a substantial amount of money as deposits with other parts of the CREDICORP group. Let's look at who lent to whom among the subsidiaries. Banco de Crédito del Perú, or BCP, a major subsidiary, lent a lot of money. For instance, BCP lent over 685 million sols to Mi Banco, a company focused on micro businesses. And BCP also lent about 20 million sols to CREDICORP Capital SAB in foreign currency. These are just a few examples of how money flows within the group. Overall, the main loans within the group in sols were around 769 million sols, with an average interest rate of 6.9%. Loans in dollars were about 65 million, with an average rate of 6.2%. These rates are pretty standard for intercompany lending. And finally, they state that the interests of experts and counsel are not applicable. This is a standard disclosure, meaning they don't have any outside experts or legal counsel with special interests in this particular reporting. So what's the big picture here? CREDICORP, despite being an amendment, is reporting steady operations and a very strong internal financial network. They have a clear structure for managing related party transactions, which is a positive sign for governance. The large amounts loaned to employees and executives, while permissible and reportedly on market terms, are substantial and warrant a closer look at risk management practices. Their investments in related companies, especially in sectors like cement, show where their strategic focus lies within their interlinked businesses. The amendment itself, correcting shareholder percentages, suggests the commitment to accuracy, albeit a bit delayed. It doesn't seem to indicate any major underlying issue with the company's operations as a whole, but rather a fine-tuning of their disclosed ownership data. Looking ahead, CREDICORP is operating in a dynamic Latin American market. Their diversified financial services and strong foothold in Peru are definite strengths. However, like any financial institution, they face risks related to economic conditions, regulatory changes, and credit quality. Competitors are always a factor, and CREDICORP's ability to navigate these external pressures while managing its robust internal financial ecosystem will be key to its continued success. In my opinion, CREDICORP appears to be a well-managed financial conglomerate. Their extensive intercompany transactions, while complex, seem to be governed by clear internal policies. The real test is how resilient this structure is to external shocks. The large volume of loans to insiders, though compliant, is a point of attention for transparency and potential conflicts. Companies that are this intertwined need very robust internal controls and independent oversight. Overall, CREDICORP seems to be on a solid path, but like any financial giant, it's the details within the numbers and the vigilance in their governance that truly matter. Alright, that's our deep dive into CREDICORP's updated financial picture. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And don't forget to subscribe for more corporate decoder insights. We've also got that awesome Discord community linked below, so come hang out with us there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.